Now you guys can hear me. Hello everybody, my name is Bigpot and today, we're gonna be doing something. I hope there is sound now. Now you guys can hear me. Yeah, you can. Hello everybody, my name is Bigpot and today, we're gonna be doing something. I hope there is sound now. Now let me just fix that feedback loop. Okay, now, so what we'll be doing today is we'll be trying to containerize my development environments. More specifically, we're gonna just make a general development environments. I will talk about what rules I have for such environments and how we're gonna achieve that. So let's make that happen, right? Huh, let's see. Okay, I think that should work, right? Now, here we go. Come on, come on. You can just see me, right? Not Visual Studio Code. Why? Okay, let's try something a bit more hacky. Okay, this should work. Yeah, I'm currently rocking only one monitor, which is weird, but I'm rocking it for a reason. I can't find the right monitor. Hey Eric, how are you today? So today there is no music because, I am good at doing things. But today, as I said, we're gonna be containerizing development environments. So let's set up first rules. Okay, what are our rules? Rule number one, it can use code in browser or installed on system using container sharing features of code. Yeah, not this zoom. I don't like this zoom. Let's try editor font zoom. That should be fine. Yeah, I'm gonna take all my development stuff and I'm gonna put it in a container. I'm gonna make multiple ones. This is something I do if I don't forget to copy and paste my Docker files, which I did. So I have to make new ones. Yeah. So let's make them. So as I said, rule number one, it can use either code in browser or installed on system using container sharing features of code. Now, rule number two, containers are ephemeral. So that in basics, that means that after after I run the code, after I could stop working on the code, container can be thrown away, which means I have to push every time I end working. If you see me look down, that's because I'm looking at a second laptop or second laptop. It's only laptop really, but second computer through which I actually am uh, reading chat. So yeah, so please continue talking in chat. It will make this at least a little bit interesting. So number three, every project gets its own container. So that means that every project I do will have its own container, no matter whether that project is C Sharp, Go, or mixture of both. And because every project has its own container, you can use Dockerfile to push the or pull the code during build, which also means you have to build every time you want to deploy. If that makes sense. Mm. So there is also, I think, another rule I normally have. Huh. I don't really use a Git hook. I just build it myself before before running the environment. But that's actually not a bad idea actually. What I would do personally, I would, since I'm using one type or another of Git system, yes, containers should be rootless, but I'm not gonna do that for one reason, which is rule number 4. It needs Docker. What does that mean that it needs Docker? Essentially, everything, or Podman, let's go Podman, depending on which system you're on. This means that every container I run will have inside Docker client and have a socket into it that is Docker socket, which is the main reason I'm not doing that. Even though, if I think about it right now, I could use two different Docker instances. So the rooted one, or the one that's root and one that's rootless. Running it in rootless and doing that on normal. So using, well, in general, no, but a version of those could be used on a Docker or on a Kubernetes, more such a more bigger system. For example, what I do, I have a container for which now I don't have images anymore, or I don't have Docker files anymore for whatever reason it make ever make a backup, which runs on my Kubernetes cluster that is essentially a Visual Studio Code in browser in which I have all my Kubernetes files, whether it be value.yaml for Helm. Helm is a package manager meant for uh, Kubernetes, or files on what's its name? What's its name? Or the standard kubectl apply file, the Kubernetes manifest. And yeah, Eric brings a good point in chat. There is a bit of delay. I forgot to select a short delay in YouTube. So For an extreme, I need to remember to select short delay, not long delay. But yeah, so now the main reason I'm doing this is also another one. I probably should, as our podcast Eric pointed out, he's using VS is using Docker Compose to spin up multiple things. Well, your project will, if it requires Redis, what's its name, Postgres, you should have a Docker Compose file beside it that spins up Redis, Postgres, not just your development environment, but everything else as well you need for development. That's actually not a bad idea. Every hold on, every project should have a Docker Compose for development environment. Well, there while the Visual Studio Code also has some features for remote dev containers already in, I tend to not use those. Might explore those in future. So that's another thing. So there is a whole folder you can add and add stuff into it. I'm not gonna deal with that today because I don't know a lot about it. But it is, as far as I know, quite useful. But before we jump forward, I'm going to talk about why all this is actually happening and why I forgot to copy old Docker files. I got hands on a new desktop computer. It's a 5900X Ryzen 9, 64 gigs of RAM, 3060 Ti. It's my current computer, and I I already wiped my previous computer laptop because I might reuse its drives sooner or later to add to this computer so I can have more storage if necessary. Because apparently 1 terabyte of PCIe NVMe storage is not enough. So now we can continue. Also I already also got myself this mice. It's G305 and it's great. Logitech, of course. What else? So now let's start writing our first Docker file. First we're gonna create a directory. Let's go .NET, and inside it goes a Docker file. Hey Blackworm, doing fine. Now, right away we have our first choice to make. What, how to say this? What base image we're gonna use? What's the base file system? No, it's not vertical mouse. Of course not. I'm not crazy like that. It's a standard mouse. Pretty nice. So, of course, this is me, and so the most probable entry point would be using something like what's its name? Okay, fix my camera. Using something like Ubuntu, but there are other options as well. Arch, Fedora. Fedora is an option. Who would use Fedora as an option for anything, much less a container? So really the only options are Arch and Ubuntu. But which one to use? Of course, there is a guy who would say use Gentoo. A guy that I know that would say that to use Gentoo, but let's just say he is a crazy person, a bit, a bit of a crazy person. Let me. Okay, I need to make it dark for a second. I just got something on message on Discord, and I have to write a reply right away. Okay, I just wrote a reply. Now I can put my laptop back where it is, and I'm back with you guys. There is so really the two options are Ubuntu or Arch. What do you guys think? Which I should use? Okay, you can say Gentoo if you want, but not I will listen to you. So what do you guys think? I'm gonna wait those 300 years for you to hear the question. So so I got a question for, why not use Debian? Really, the simple answer is Ubuntu is already a choice, and Debian is basically less proper Ubuntu. And it comes to the fact that I'm a tiny bit more used to Ubuntu as I'm using it on a desktop, and because on a desktop you should be using Ubuntu, not Debian, because it is properly hardened, properly set up for you. Also, if I would be using Debian, I would be using using the latest stable, which is already behind the world, even Ubuntu. So yeah, and there's Joshua, our crazy man. That's the guy who likes Gentoo. Uh, Joshua, the current question is what container image to use for the development environment? Should it be Ubuntu, Arch? Okay, the option is of Debian, and while I didn't dismiss it, I'm saying Gentoo is a thing as an option. Alpine goes right out of the gate out. I've tried Alpine for an image. Only benefit to Alpine is the fact that it is a small image, and that's not enough of a reason because Alpine there are a lot of tools that get that job done a lot better than Alpine, and you can get all the greatness of Ubuntu while getting all the benefits of Alpine. But none of the drawbacks. Drawbacks are giant. Let's see what are the drawbacks of Alpine. Super hard debugging, MUSL, and all the MUSL related issues like DNS. So Alpine is out of the question for anything. Um, I use a tool that makes images smaller than Alpine can make, but let's not talk about the tool right now. that may come in the future. Some of you may already know what it is. Now, Joshua, do you have any recommendations? There's also Gento is on the table. While I did dismiss it already, I'm leaving it on the table for maybe, maybe. But I'm doing a development environment for programming. I wanna remove development environment from my system and put it in a container so that development environment inside a container and not on my system because you know that's kind of bad to have your development environment on your base system. That kind of a thing should be dropped immediately by everybody, not just me. And I'm the a bit of an how to say this first mover on this. If we forget that Gitpod exists, so currently I'm probably gonna use Ubuntu unless you guys have some good good recommendations with good reasons, of course. So this is gonna take 10 years for to get it, so let's sit back and relax. And meanwhile, I'm gonna see statistics of the stream, how horrible it's doing. Da, 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 da. Okay, come on, come on, come on, you useless thing. Analysis, nope, should be under YouTube Studio. Okay, and we should be under live somewhere. Sabina, Jiva, boom. I wanna see it. No, Nix. Nix really not a great for running inside a container. And not gonna happen with Rolling Rhino. That's not a system worth exploring really. I actually am running close to Rolling Iron, Rolling Rhino on this desktop, but it's not really worth exploring in for a serious things. It is Ubuntu Devel. Ubuntu Devel is crashy, but yeah. So let's see. What does no problems? Nice. Honestly thought that there would be some problems. So I think I'm gonna go with from Ubuntu latest. I think that's the easiest one I could go with. Although it might be fun to do Arch, but let's leave that for later. Now, this is a Docker file for .NET. We need to get .NET. So run something something something. Oh, I don't have links, proper links. Hmm, how to get those? Okay, let's. Okay, you're gonna have to settle for my megabit. So we have .NET. Oh yeah, So what we're gonna do, we're gonna actually add a .NET SDK. Just find the right thing, Ubuntu, and here we go. I'm gonna paste the commands in, and then I'm gonna show you because I only have one screen. It's a pain in the well behind. So now we should be back. Yeah, here we go. Now we see the code again, not just my head. Okay, so what's this? This is uh, the get run. But before that, there is an important two commands we need to run. Run apt update, apt upgrade. While your images, or Ubuntu images, or Debian, or many other images may get upgraded on a fairly steady basis, there are chances that your updates, it was built between now, that updates were sent out between now and you're when it was built. So you need to catch this update and you need to catch really well. But before I forget, I'm going to add yes here. Now, next command is just to pull their packages Microsoft prod dip file, which will do some magic and set up Microsoft repository for you. Then you remove that file. Now, next one is simple. You run apt update. Then you run all of these commands. Why did I put them in the same line? Simple. Because there is a system of layers. While I could actually not do that because, well, I'm gonna show you a trick. If I have Docker installed, there could be a possibility to have Docker installed. Shall we find out? Yep, I don't have Docker installed. Who would have thunk it? Okay, so let's continue. Anyone have any questions at this point? At this point, I also have to remove the sudo command here. But if you got any questions, don't be afraid to ask them in the chat. Okay, I see there are currently no questions. Now the next step, this is gonna be access it through VS Code. We need to pull our code. So we're gonna do an environment variable here. Git repo. which will be a string. And now we're gonna do run git clone git repo. So you're probably gonna ask how we're going to clone private repositories. I'm gonna tell you a trick. So for example, I just create a template gitrepo.com slash, or let's go github.com slash bigpod 98 slash private repo. For example, how do I tell here what's my username and password? Does anybody know? Not many people do. So because the difference between me waiting on you for answer and that takes trillion of years, I'm gonna I'm gonna just explain. And I see it just came through since Shagan666 ask, can you invoke a SSH script? The SSH key. That's an option, but there is another trick I like to use. GitHub allows for username and password authentication, like GitLab does, and so on. And there is a tiny trick in HTTP spec of how to pass a username and password to a website. So we go username colon password at, and you replace, for example, this would be bigpod98 and password, but you cannot actually use your own password, like direct password you typing with your keyboard. What you need to use is a private something something key. Let's see if I can remember the correct name for that. Uh, let's see. I wish these things were made to actually be useful. But on the laptop, I'm using something called Wayland because touchscreen works on Wayland. And Wayland doesn't have a virtual keyboard or any that would work. So what I'm actually gonna you would normally use is a personal access token right here, what's known as PAT. It's a string of characters that is generated by GitHub for you, and what it does, it acts as your password. So even if you have two-factor authentication, it will work. It is that is what is used to, let's say you have a, I don't know, you want to log into their uh, let's say, or for example, a great example would be, huh, you want to use, huh, what? Okay, so for example, you have who of you use GitLab? If you use GitLab, you may know. Oh wait, no, that's not what GitLab does. So basically, a great example of this is if you have any application that works with your GitHub, that does stuff on GitHub, it asks you to generate a token and enter it. And that's what that token is, personal access token. Unless, of course, it has a login button, but that's another question entirely. And these are time-based, so each one expires after so often. I have like million expired keys now. So that's a thing. So what is this pet? And then you can do it. But now that we have a Git Git repository, if we want to push to it afterwards, it's actually gonna use the same link, including username and password. So you don't need to worry about your what password you have and so on and so on. Of course, I would do something like this in PAT, your PAT, and then just include here. But another thing we have to have is run git config user.name equals something and run git config user.email. That's the question. That's the crappy error message that yells at you if you commit without them being set. You need to set them. That's what you need to do. Now, I think this is about ready in basics. Let's see. Anything else I need? No. For a basic development environment, that's it. But I wish most projects were one language. At least my projects aren't. I'm gonna use multiple languages. Right language for the right job, I call it. The reason I do that, I write everything in a more microservice pattern. So let's now work on a second language. And second language normally for me nowadays is Go. So Docker file. And in basics, we're gonna do this. Like every good programmer, I copy and paste. Now I just delete this. And with that, we get a skeleton of every development environment I create. Now the question is, what we need to install there? Because some of you, yeah, PET is quite secure. It's actually used to authenticate to GitHub in many many applications. Or for example, great example of that is if you use Docker Hub. If you do not want to enter your password into Docker login, you can generate a path and use that to log in instead of your actual password. Well, so you can use that to log in, and it is quite secure, especially because you can actually specify what you can access and what not. For example, with GitHub, you can even go as deep as specify I want it to read repositories but not write to them. So it can read private repositories but it can't write to them. Or if you're using their GHCR, their container registry, you can pull from you can set it up so you can pull from it but not write to it. Same same technology can be used, for example, to access their APIs. I don't know how much you can access the APIs of GitHub. I know GitLab has quite an extensive API. I can use that too, and you can use a pet to access their API. But let's return to the task of Go. The most logical solution would be to go run apt install Go. It's apt install Go, or is it Golang? Oh, yeah, it's Golang. But that's not really a smart thing to do because Ubuntu has old Golang. What you should do is go to Go's website and pull it down. So that would be the get or curl, whichever one you want. Now another quick hidden, not so hidden cut of you looking at my ugly face because I only have one monitor. Golang. And I'm not showing you my browser where everything is logged in because I'm super not prepared for a stream. And that's the okay. Well, it's quite flattering to say that. Okay, now so I have prepared everything needed. So now let me quickly jump. Okay, the right jump. Yeah. So there are three commands we're gonna need. First, let's just env this. Then second one is this, and third one is run tar. See, this will deploy. This will drop in the right directory. Now, because it's me, we're gonna also do this. rm-rf this. And that's, well, it, really. Oh yeah, because of how I set this up, I need to do dash G here. That's so you can make it global and because this wouldn't be a Git directory at a time. There are two ways of solving this. Now, next one would be also need to have, also another smart thing is to have env repo. I'm gonna explain why. So you're talking about a database service. Hmm. Easiest way would be to have a separate container, let's say for example Postgres, and have it all defined in a Docker Compose file. We're gonna look at Docker Compose file really quickly as well. Let's just copy this change. That's what the best programmers do. Copy. There is a reason Stack Overflow exists. Now, so we're talking about Docker Compose. Let's just jump here and create a new file. Docker compose.yaml. So Docker compose.yaml is a file in a YAML format, so everybody likes YAML. And because I have a great memory, I'm gonna quickly jump off so I can actually what's with me? I have a laptop here. Okay, okay. I just turn it around so I can have actually access to keyboard because Wayland is great and doesn't have a virtual keyboard. Good job, Wayland, or at least one that works. It has virtual keyboards, but they don't work. So we want to do Docker compose. Yeah, here we go. So what we want to do is just moving things a bit about so I can read things. If you want to do version, I'll normally just specify something like 3. And ironically, it's actually you need you need to make it a string, not a number. Then you have services, and another important part is networks. And a good idea is to have volumes. Now, let's call our first uh, what is this service env. This or environ or dev. Let's call it dev env. This will be our development environment. What you do is you do image and you do, I don't know, name of the image. Name of image, or you can replace that with build or work together. So build dot. You may have both set up now. That's all into except if you have some specific environment variables you want to define. But more importantly, there is a second service, Postgres. Of course, this should be in quotation marks because it's a string. Postgres. Now, image would be, I believe it's Postgres 13, for example, or 14, whatever the version is. Now, the second thing is I would recommend having a volume for this because you never know if you want to have a volume. Let's say this time we don't have a volume, but you want to have a network. Network name, dev environment, dev environ. And here we just need to define that network, dev environ. So, huh, not sure. Not sure. I do not know what pgdump is. I'm not that great of a Postgres guy. I just use it to develop things. I'm not a Postgres developer or even a Postgres administrator. I have a Postgres database on my server. It runs. I lost it 3 times already. So let's just say I have no idea what I'm doing. Now we also need to define network here. Networks, dev environ. Now what this does is basically now that this pulls them into a contained network of their own. So now all you need to do in your second service or your development environment service, where you have uh, if your system does, let's say, environment variables to get actual values, like I normally do for Kubernetes, all I have to do is set up either environments variables here or afterwards in the system, but smarter part would be here, env, I don't know, how do I name it? Let's say I normally name it name of project underscore postgres underscore host name, and we can just name it Postgres. Put the quotations, and so on and so on and so on for everything. But now, as I have found out, I don't have even have Docker on installed. So I'm gonna just quickly copy this to here. Actually, name of project is a bit vague, but it's true. So another trick I tend to do, you have to, I believe you have to also set some environment variables for your Postgres. I believe, let's see. Okay, let's see. I have that somewhere on this laptop, but not on the desktop because I'm a good developer. In the in this directory there should be this directory, and if you go to databases, Postgres, deploy. I have a Kubernetes YAML, kubectl YAML file I can cheat off of. Yeah. Well, it doesn't need the host name, but you can set it up. You just need to have how you tell it in your Cider program. But here you need to have the Postgres DB, which is the name of the first database it will create, which should be maybe the name of your Postgres database. So that would be, let's say, test. Genius Alchemy does that. Uh, Postgres user and Postgres password. Those are the three things you need to have for it to successfully initialize. So user, that would be username, or in my case BigPod, and password test. Of course, I'm not gonna use that password. Don't use that password. Use a long, complicated password like test. Of course not. That's that's bad. So you need these three variables. So Postgres actually even initializes. Now you might actually want to look into what Postgres does from outside. So for that, I would recommend using something like pgadmin. Image, that would be image. Of course, I need to look because, hey, I don't know everything from head. How my Kubernetes deployment does it. That would be dpage slash pgadmin for latest, and you need three environment variables. Great. Environment. Of course, you should quotation mark those. Environment. Let's go. pg admin default email. Email. Email at email local. Second one should be pgadmin default password test, and there should be at least another one, at least in my opinion. pgadmin disable postfix true. You can believe you can select you can set up initial database. Let's see. I'm gonna open pgadmin in variables, container deployment. Da, 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 da. Okay, here we go. Huh, really, you can't? I thought you could set your first, your initial database. Okay, let's see. I believe here it is. PG. Okay, let's see. I don't think you can, but not sure. There might be something in there. Let's see. If any of you know it, please let me know. Hey, Monica. Yeah, it's YAML. So, still searching, and I don't think there is anything here. Nope. At least not that I would know of. If anybody knows it, please let me know. Well, the way I do it is just log in while when I'm in. But uh, it would be nice if there would be a way you could do it, but there is nothing on here. Maybe wait, maybe here? No. TLS server chase. Huh, I think I know. You need to define it in a file. Servers.json. Yep. You need to create a file. And then it creates a configuration stuff itself. So we're not gonna deal with that, even though I think we could inject a file without it being too complex. Now, that might also work. That might also work. I don't know. This should be just fine, really. Now, that's the amazing part. Now, what? Now, that's what we require. Now, let's step one step further. Let's try to build this and run it. But first, we need Docker. So, let me lean in Docker engine install. Now, at this point, I should know that now there is Docker desktop for Ubuntu. I'm not gonna use it. So, let's go. Sudo apt update. Okay. Okay, curl. Let me just copy this stuff. Time for my ugly mug again. Docker desktop. Maybe I should SSH into this machine. Not Docker desktop, Docker engine, Ubuntu. So first, apparently to install a few stuff, I'm gonna create a file. Doc dot slash docker install. To here. While I look at my head, how bad does it look? Really bad or super bad? So here we go. It should have worked. Okay, let's go. We're gonna run dot slash docker. No, we're not. Mod plus x docker install dot slash docker install. My password is not for your public consumption, so a bit of darkness for you all. Here we go. And before I do anything, I'm gonna sudo run it. Yes, yes, yes. Here we go. And we're back. And now we can execute the script. Yes, I'll write it. Now we go. Yes. It's installing stuff. That's the whole script. First, it installs some prerequisite dependencies like CI certificate, curl, nupg, and LSB release. Then it sets up this, sets up repository, and then updates, installs, adds to a group, and adds me to a group. Now, all we need to do is new group Docker. And now we should be able to access Docker PS. We did. Of course, you can't see me. Now we can. And you can see the code. Okay. Now, if I wanted to go rootless, I could set it up right now, but no need right now. Let's set up a server. And since we did set up, we're gonna do cd.net and docker compose. Oh, this is the old one. Sudo apt install docker-compose. Yeah, that's gonna work. This is not the new one. It installs a million Python dependencies. Docker compose build. This I believe. Yeah, there is a new version on some I believe. I don't know how exactly to get it, but Docker includes compose as well, and that one. Wait, that's strange. Let me see this. Um, Docker compose file must be a mapping, not a script. Let's see. Networks and search. That's okay. That's okay. Colon curly brackets. This and it builds uses an image skipping building devenv and it's building the development environment now. And it breaks because nobody installed Vaget. And then apt install Vaget. And that's it. Afterwards, I'm going to show you a trick how to get rid of those 3 million Docker, 3 million layers that will come out of this. Actually, it will come, I believe, 4 from here. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 layers. How to get rid of those and make only one? There are two ways, really. One is using a special tool, and we broke because there is no Git. Good job, BigPod. Also, we should be setting this thing because it has telemetry. Good job, Microsoft. Telemetry. Telemetry is actually pretty good thing to have for project, but I don't want it. So we also need to do Git. Good job, me. Yeah, my opinion of telemetry is that for most projects actually good. It's or most companies because it actually informs developers of what users are using, not using, and so on, which is a very hard problem when you're actually if you're developing in a vacuum, which is what development is really without any telemetry. You need to know what buttons your what buttons computer is your users are clicking. That's very important. Now I'm gonna tell you about a trick I have. Let's see. I want to check if I'm correct in how it's set. Da-da-da. Okay, yeah, I am. We set env Debian. Let's see that I make sure it's correct. Debian underscore front end non-interactive, I believe it is. Debian equals non-interactive, right? Yes. Let's run this. Let's see what happens. It should install stuff and set everything by itself, including time, which you probably should set up somehow. Oh, you didn't. Great. Let's see under which one. So 10, which should be this one, right? Step 10, yes. Let's do it a bit more hardcore like this. Debian frontend equals non-interactive, right? Yeah, this way I know it works 100%. Of course, you probably should be setting up. Wait, that's not right. That should have made it non-inter. No. Oh yeah, I added for the wrong thing. Good job, me. Of course, there's another option. Env tc equals Europe. I don't know what's in my time zone. Probably Berlin. I don't know. Let's see. Europe. In my time, so basically whole of Europe, but let's see. CET. I don't know. Fun. Oslo. That's an option. You know, the CET, where the whole world is. CET, CEST, whatever. I could do Oslo, Paris, Monaco, Madrid, Lisbon. No, actually not Lisbon. Weird. Okay, but right now actually there's actually another tree ring. So we're gonna actually pull something that's real. So that should I'm gonna for now clear this. We're gonna pull a public repo. Let's see, I have any public repos. GitHub, BigPod 98. Let's see if I have any public repos. Oh, we could use repository manager init, which is an old project I did previously on stream. What was the last part? Shagan, I might have missed some context. Big idea, what would that be? Hmm, please explain. So let's see. This should pull and then bug on that one because I forgot to comment it out. But because of layers, it does this. And we're there now for a trick of the century. Docker build dash help. Let's look at the help. Specifically, we can do, is it here? Come on. No, 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 no. Is it really not here? Uh-huh. Not no cache. Wow, either they removed it or it's hidden. Let's see. Docker. Okay, yeah, it's not seen there. Might be I might have a wrong version, but there is an experimental flag you can do. That is squash dot and go. Oh, I need experimental features enabled. Let's see how I enable experimental features. Docker experimental enable. Okay, let's do this. Sudo nano slash etsy slash docker slash daemon.json and this experimental true sudo systemctl restart docker d docker. Okay, now let's try again. Now it's doing something, and if we check this, where is describe docker image describe? Okay, inspect. Here we go. We should have one layer, and we do, or we have two layers all together. That is cool, having just two layers. Now, all I need to do is do docker compose up, and it goes. And it's pulling down 500,000,000 layers for Postgres. Huh, strange. Yes. And now both are open. But we forgot one thing. We forgot good old ports. But there is another trick. Docker ps-a. Oh yeah, new group Docker. Let's go again. There it is. We want this one. Docker container inspect. Yep, that's all I want. IP address is here. Yeah, you need to do up to get. We're gonna do ports. Let me just set up a Firefox instance, which is I'm so I basically didn't even set up my normal browser, which is uh let's see, this should work. Okay, yeah. Which is what's its name? Microsoft Edge. But so I used Firefox. Quick switch. And this is it. This is the we can actually use the IP from here. As you see, its address because the machine you're running, the host, is directly bridged into every network. So you can use the direct IP address for stuff like this. And you do. What did we put? What did we put as an email? Probably some testing. Okay, email at email.local and password being test. Login. No, thank you. And this is PG admin. Now you register a server. We give a name like this. And as far as I know, Postgres test test test. Yeah, big pod test. And save. Now if I set up everything correctly, it should just drop unable to connect. Unable to translate to name. What did I forget? I don't know. Sometimes something like this happens. Huh. Actually, we could try just removing this. I'm doing just fine. We can remove this and Docker compose down. Now it should be standard port. That's the catch. It should be a standard port. And standard port should be 5432. Let's go again. Docker compose up. It's gonna stand it up again. And as you see, it is 5432. Let's reload the page. Gonna take a minute. Huh, it's not loading. Why it's not loading? Okay, maybe now it will load. Huh. Oh yeah, am I a genius? Why don't I do just that? Docker down, Docker compose down. It wasn't actually that. Up, let's get it all up. And I need to do Docker PS. And I need to get the IP again. Because the network changes. Hopefully in months time I'm gonna have another screen. Okay, this one thinks it should be HTTPS. I don't know why. Let's try this. Uh, I don't understand this sometimes. I'm itching all over right now because I'm nervous, including my nose is itching as hell. It always happens to me. Um, I'm gonna try a trick I know. Because somehow, for some reason, it wants an HTTPS while that is an HTTP, clear HTTP site, except if they change to HTTPS. That would be strange. Chromium, go. So I just installed Chromium through Snap, and here we go. Nope, doesn't let me in. Huh, now PGI doesn't let me in. Oh, box. I was copying the wrong IP address. Am I a genius or what? Now here we are. Now we can come back from my horrible mug. And we can try another server again. So that would be uh, Postgres, Postgres, test, bigpot, Test. Please work. And it worked. We're in. Good job. I don't know why, but let's decide to not do MDNS. Who knows? And there we go. We have a test database. And to prove it works, I can do something like where's tables? Oh, schemas. Tables. Test. Column. ID. Serial. Whatever. Char varying. 1024. Because it's me. Boom. And we can then do all rows. And we can even enter here. Oh, it's an array. Good job, me. I made an array of char varying. Good job, me. What have and just rerun this command, and you can do this 1, 2, 3, and of course for fun we 4. There we go. And we just do save data changes, and data is saved. So this is kind of like what the hell it's called? All right, I can't remember. MySQL Workbench. Yes, MySQL Workbench. Kind of like that, just better. Okay, now what has this been leading up to? Another directory actually called Go or .NET-Go, which is kind of special. It's for next week's project. I'm not gonna say what it is, but let's start here. Let's create a development environment. We're gonna copy these two files, open this file. We're gonna do this. It's a bit of a secret for now, but I bet you're gonna like it. Now, and it's gonna be a public project, so all of you could do a pull request, especially in the Go part. I know most of you are in .NET developers, so .NET part probably not gonna be your strong suit. Even though if you know .NET, please help. It will be greatly appreciated. But I forgot we need to do this. And copy it here. So we have both .NET and Go and something else. Third part. We're gonna go here. There's a reason I put it into a file. So I could execute it. But there's another reason. So I can do this. I hope you can all see here. Okay, you can see. Okay. So the reason I'm doing this is because we're gonna be adding. I'm smart. I really am. I promise. Docker as well, and I'm gonna combine a few steps like this one can be combined here. So this we can remove. This one cannot be combined with anything. Run. This will add a GPG key for Docker's repo. Then this one. Run. Here the trick. I like things in a single line even though I can't read them. I'm crazy like that. Run. Another update. I think I'm okay. Yeah, I could reorganize this to be a bit more better listed, and we could do that afterwards. And this. Another thing, since this is a developer mode, it really doesn't matter, but you probably should set a separate user. But for this case, actually we don't need this since we're gonna stay root. Here, if we should probably do work there, relative path, so which is actually a root of the container, and name, no, name repo, like this. This way you actually get stuff like um, so you get automatically dumped into the root with the project. Now you might need, which we will probably need here is run, actually, which will happen after this part. So let's move it here. Run git submodules with update. Um, let me see. I have a okay. I have a neat little what exactly needs to happen. That would be, let's say, I know this one does it. Okay, update dash dash remote dash dash recursive. If you have Git submodules, let's say each language is its own submodule, something crazy like that, like I sometimes do, especially when I do my private projects. Now, let's rework this to be a bit more proper. For example, first of all, let's copy all of this and plop it into this one and into this one. That's how we do good updates. You just copy things. Now, here, what we're gonna do, we're gonna do a bit of reworking, like here. Gonna install all such things. This one is okay. Boom. Right here. Boom. So then we do this, and we don't need this. We combine this with this, and because I know we can do this, we don't even need this. Now this should work. Yeah, let's try it. Docker compose. Let's see something. Dash compose build, and it's off we go. Now, what else you can do with this? You can add your own favorite shell. If you have configuration files for that shell, you can pull it in. But this specifically is made to be run on in conjunction with an actual VS Code you have in your system with extension called remote containers. This one. What this one does, you can get into the container itself. Oh yeah, sudo doesn't exist. Where did I put sudo? Uh, Here. Now it's working out. Okay, I forgot an apt update. Good job me. Run apt update. And actually, this could actually be slightly improved. Boom. Only require one apt update. And we do run. Actually, no, it will require two anyway, so do the one here. Update. Anyway, because, well, because. Huh. Oh yeah. Genius me. That's how it's supposed to be. So we're almost about time to wrap up. So before we go, do you guys in chat have anything else to ask me, to say to me? Otherwise, I'm gonna end this soon. The nice part is that we actually did quite a lot of what I wanted to do today. I probably wouldn't build it this way because, yeah, okay, this is okay. It's supposed to not work like that. What I probably would have done myself is I would have built it separately to squish the layers. So we get one giant 10 gigabyte layer. Now, I'll probably because, well, that's how projects go. We probably need to add some node stuff as well because you want to build a front end for something. But for this project, that might not be required because it's a purely command line and that. So at the end, we have this environment variable. I'm going to do password username. Now, there are also other tricks you could do. Since now that you pull stuff down, you can automatically run migrations. Of course, that you shouldn't do that. You should set an entry point for that if you wish to. Or a great one that I do is I also here install fish, and then you can set your personal shell as fish run chsh slash bin user bin fish if you want. Or you can add a package. And since we're using Docker Compose, we can add, let's say, Redis and whatever clients, or and here we can add whatever we need. And now I'm gonna create a bunch more of these for languages like Rust, combination of .NET, Rust, and so on and so on and so on. I see there is no messages in chat, so I guess I can count it as you guys not have any questions, any comments. So at this point, let's go back to my ugly Mac. Of course, it doesn't want to. Thank you guys for watching. This was a fun stream, I guess. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I don't know, if you're watching this later, comment what do you think about the stream. So I guess goodbye. So let me just do something so it actually can be properly ended. Okay, time for a last shift or last cut. Thanks again. Goodbye.